Aquarius, before you do anything else today, I need you to sit with one date, July 29th, 2026. Because that is not a random Wednesday on your calendar. That is the exact moment the sky stops talking about you and starts talking to you. On July 29th, the moon enters Aquarius, your sign, your own emotional territory. And for roughly 2.5 days, every feeling you've been logically packing away in a box at the back of your mind is going to come forward and ask to be looked at properly. Here's why that matters more than usual this time. You have spent the last several weeks in a very strange in-between place, haven't you? Not unhappy exactly, not falling apart, just suspended. Like you're standing in a doorway waiting for somebody to tell you it's safe to walk through. You've been running the same conversation in your head on a loop. You've been polite, you've been patient, you've been reasonable. July 29th is the day the reasonable part goes quiet, and the honest part finally speaks up. This is your turning point, and I want to be specific about what that phrase means, because I don't believe in vague promises. A turning point is not a lottery ticket. It's a realization, the kind that arrives suddenly, usually in an ordinary moment, and permanently changes what you're willing to accept. That's what's coming. A sudden emotional breakthrough. A clean, cold, beautiful piece of clarity about a situation you've been overthinking for months. And on the other side of it, a freedom you honestly forgot was available to you. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'm going to break down exactly what this moon does to your emotional wiring, how the turning point shows up in your relationships and your career, and the one specific thing you need to do on July 29th so you don't waste it. And quickly, before we go deeper, because a lot of you keep asking, this video is written for every Aquarius watching, but your actual chart isn't general. It has a rising sign, a moon sign, a specific house this transit is lighting up. That's where the real detail lives. So here at Aquarius Portal, we also do personal readings, a full birth chart reading, relationship compatibility, soulmate reading, career reading, life purpose reading, plus monthly and yearly forecasts. And if you just have one burning question you need answered honestly, there's question-based personal guidance too. The WhatsApp chat link is in the description box. Message us your birth details, and we'll take it from there. That's it. Back to your July 29th. The core impact, Moon in Aquarius. Your emotional awakening. Here's the thing about you, Aquarius, that most astrologers get wrong. They call you detached, cold, the unemotional air sign. That's lazy, and it isn't true. You're not unemotional. You're overwhelmed by emotion, and you handle that by moving it upstairs into analysis, into theory, into understanding the feeling instead of having it. You'd rather explain why you're hurt than admit that you're hurt. It's a survival mechanism, and honestly, it has served you well. But when the moon enters your own sign on July 29th, that mechanism goes offline for a couple of days. The moon rules the inner world, instinct, memory, the stuff underneath the reasoning. When it lands in Aquarius, it doesn't make you dramatic, it makes you accurate. You'll feel things with unusual intensity, but you'll also be able to name them precisely. That's a rare combination, and it's the entire reason this transit is so powerful for you specifically. Expect your intuition to go sharp. Not fuzzy, mystical intuition, the Aquarian version. You'll look at a situation and simply know the answer, and when you trace it backwards, you'll find the logic was there all along. You've just been refusing to follow it to its conclusion, because the conclusion was inconvenient. Some of you will get this as a dream in the early hours, some as a physical reaction, a tightness in your chest around a certain name, a wave of relief around another. Some of you will get it mid-sentence, while talking about something completely unrelated. However it arrives, it won't feel like a message from outside. It'll feel like something you already knew, finally being allowed to speak. The reset button. Think of the moon returning to your sign as your personal new year. Not January, this. This transit resets your emotional baseline. Whatever you've been tolerating, the level of effort you put into a friendship, the amount of disrespect you absorb at work, the tiny compromises you've made with yourself about what you're allowed to want, all of it gets remeasured against how you actually feel on July 29th. And here's what makes it a turning point rather than just a mood. Aquarius does not renegotiate. Once you see something clearly, you cannot unsee it. Other signs can talk themselves back into an old arrangement. You can't. Your mind doesn't work that way. So the clarity that lands around the 29th tends to become permanent within days. That's why this feels bigger than a 2-day moon transit. It isn't the transit that's huge. It's what you'll do with what it shows you. What you're shedding right before the 29th. The days leading up to July 29th may feel oddly heavy. Flat, even. Don't panic. That's the clear out. Before the moon reaches you, it moves through Capricorn, the quiet, hidden part of your chart. That's the emotional loft space, where you store things you don't want to deal with. Old guilt, a version of yourself you outgrew years ago. That inner voice that whispers, maybe you're too much, maybe you should want less. So in the run-up, you might feel tired for no reason, unusually nostalgic, or strangely emotional about something you thought you were over. Let it come up. That's not you going backwards. That's you setting it down. The 3 things most Aquarians release right now: a habit you keep using as an excuse, a connection that only functions when you're the one making the effort, and the belief that being difficult to understand somehow means being difficult to love. How the turning point shows up: relationships and connections. This is where it'll be most visible, and I want you prepared, because it can look like loss before it looks like a gift. Around July 29th, your tolerance for performance drops to 0. Small talk becomes physically exhausting. People who only reach out when they need something suddenly become very obvious. And you'll notice something strange. You won't be angry about it. You'll just be done. That flat, calm, Aquarian door closing that other people find so unnerving. Some connections are going to quietly fall away in this window. A group chat you stop replying to. Someone whose call you don't return. Please don't force them back into place. This transit is a filter, and it filters for you. It removes whatever requires you to be a smaller, easier, more digestible version of yourself. What comes in its place is the good part. Aquarius moon energy magnetizes your actual people, the ones who find your weirdness interesting rather than inconvenient. Watch for a conversation in the days following the 29th that goes unexpectedly deep, unexpectedly fast. Someone from a community, an online space, a shared interest, a friend of a friend. It won't feel like effort, it'll feel like recognition. And if you're in a committed relationship, this is the window where you finally say the thing you've been drafting in your head for weeks. Say it. This moon gives you the rare ability to be completely honest without being cruel. That combination isn't always available to you. Use it while it is. Career and ambition. Aquarius, you've been sitting on an idea. Maybe you mentioned it once and let it go. Maybe you've never said it out loud at all because it's slightly too unconventional, slightly too early, slightly too you. On or immediately after July 29th, that idea comes back, and this time it arrives fully formed, with the missing piece attached. That's the signature of a moon in your own sign, the flash of genius that seems to come from nowhere, but is actually the product of everything you've been quietly processing for months. Do not let it evaporate. Write it down within the hour. I mean that literally. Aquarian insight has a short shelf life. It feels obvious in the moment, and vanishes by evening. Professionally, expect one of 3 things. A shift in how you're seen at work, where someone finally acknowledges the contribution you assumed was invisible. An unexpected opening that doesn't fit the standard path you were told to take. Or a decision to stop waiting for permission and simply begin the thing. That third one is the most common, and by far the most life-changing. The internal shift, but the biggest change is the one nobody else will see for weeks. You've been in waiting mode, waiting for the right time, the full plan, the reassurance, the sign. July 29th ends the waiting, not because conditions become perfect, but because you stop needing them to be. That's the real turning point, the move from someday to starting now, from studying the map to actually walking. And once an Aquarius starts moving, momentum builds astonishingly fast, because you were never short on ability. You were short on permission. This week, you give it to yourself. Be ready. What to do on July 29th. 1. Protect your energy. The moon in your sign makes you a receiver. Everything comes in louder, including other people's stress. So for these 2 or 3 days, be selective. Don't schedule the draining lunch. Don't take the call from the person who only ever downloads their problems onto you. Don't spend 3 hours scrolling other people's opinions before you've had a chance to hear your own. This is a limited surge of clarity. Treat it like a charged battery you don't want to waste on background apps. 2. Trust the sudden urges. On and around the 29th, you're going to get impulses that don't have an explanation attached yet. A sudden need to message someone, a pull towards a place, a subject, a piece of work, an abrupt, unarguable no about something you'd already agreed to. Normally you'd interrogate that until it lost its shape. Not this week. Under this moon, your instinct is running ahead of your reasoning, and the logic will catch up within a day or two and confirm it. Act on the pull first, understand it afterwards. This is the one transit of the year where that's genuinely the right order. 3. Set the intention. Here's your assignment. It takes 5 minutes. On July 29th, find a quiet moment. Get a piece of paper. Actual paper, not your notes app. Write 1 sentence, present tense. From today, I am no longer 1. The truest one. Not 5. 1. Then underneath it, write 1 sentence about who you become once that thing is gone. Fold it. Keep it somewhere you'll find it in a few months. Aquarius is a fixed sign, which means once you commit, you stay committed. And this small ritual gives the transit something concrete to attach itself to. It turns a feeling into a decision, and decisions are what turning points are actually made of. 1. What if I feel absolutely nothing on July 29th? More common than you'd think, and it's not a failure. Aquarian breakthroughs often arrive on delay. The transit plants it, and the realization surfaces 2 to 5 days later, usually while you're doing something completely mundane. If the 29th feels quiet, don't force it. Just stay alert through the first week of August. 2. Should I make a big decision on the actual day? Make the internal decision on the day the clarity is reliable. But if it involves money, contracts, or something irreversible, give it 48 hours. Let the moon move on, then check whether it still feels true. With Aquarius, real turning points survive the cooling-off period. Impulses don't. 3. Someone is drifting out of my life right now. Do I fight for it? Ask yourself one honest question. If you stopped making the effort entirely, would anything still be there? If the answer is no, this transit isn't taking something from you. It's showing you something that was already gone. Let it go cleanly. Space is a prerequisite for what's coming next. 4. Does this affect Aquarius risings and Aquarius moons too? Yes, strongly. If your rising is Aquarius, this hits your identity and how you present yourself to the world. If your moon is in Aquarius, this is your monthly emotional reset. And this one is unusually potent. The house it activates differs for each of you, which is exactly the kind of detail a personal chart reading pins down. How long will this turning point last? The transit itself runs about 2.5 days. The consequences run for months. What you decide in this window sets the tone for the rest of 2026. Because Aquarius doesn't drift back. You choose a direction, and then you're simply that person now. That's your superpower, and this is the week to use it. So let me leave you with this, Aquarius. Whatever falls away around July 29th was never going to make it to where you're going. This transit isn't punishing you. It's lightening you. It's clearing the deck so you can finally move at your actual speed instead of everybody else's. You've spent long enough being the person who understands everyone, adapts to everything, and quietly waits their turn. July 29th is your turn. Be ready for it. And if you want to know exactly where this lands in your chart, which area of life is being reset, and what it's setting up for the rest of the year, we do personal readings here at Aquarius Portal. Birth chart, career, love and compatibility, soulmate, life purpose, monthly and yearly forecasts, or one honest answer to one specific question. The WhatsApp link is in the description. Send us your birth details, and we'll take care of the rest. Now, before you go, comment "I am ready for July 29th" below to claim this energy. I read every single one. Subscribe if you're an Aquarius who'd rather be told the truth than something comfortable.